Welcome to Inspiring IT Leaders, where we feature top technology leaders and those amazing expressions they use to communicate, to teach, and to inspire. I'm Dan Roberts, your host of this series of 5-minute micro videos, and I'm excited to shine the light on the top digital and business leaders who are standout communicators. In this episode, we shine the light once again on the incredibly talented yet humble Julie Cullivan. Julie brings a unique perspective now that she sits on several boards and also as a former Chief Technology Officer and Chief People Officer, roles which she held simultaneously. Thank you, Julie, for sharing your leadership wisdom via this Julieism. Let's check it out.
Accountability has always been something that I've felt was, not just organizationally, how do you drive that, but, just as a personal, sort of core value, right, is taking responsibility and ownership. And one of the isms that I have used is that accountability breeds responsibility. And again, not my, Stephen Covey came up with this, but it really resonated with me because responsibility can mean two things. It can be how you respond, right? Or again, taking that personal ownership and accountability. So, when I think about when things aren't, going well, or there's issues or challenges that either a project or the organization is facing, that you really need to, as a leader, not only take responsibility, but really think about how you communicate that, update and how you communicate that ownership and how you communicate the plans to address it and get things back on track. And I think, being in, CXO roles, you have to be brave, you have to be courageous, right? And I think these all wrap into accountability, right? It's hard sometimes to really take ownership for issues or mistakes, but it's about how you communicate it and about how you make plans to address it that I think makes a difference. And, similar to that, you touched on it earlier, I've always used the go ugly early as a mantra because, I've just never seen it where sitting on bad news has ever really resulted in a good outcome because the longer you sit on it, the harder it is to deliver that message. The longer you wait, the harder it is to come up with ways to mitigate the issue and get back on track. So I would say that that's one that my team heard very often, right? It's like, never be afraid to come to me and say, hey, look, something's going on. It may be a problem. It may not be as bad as we think, but I need to make sure that you know now. And that has always just resulted in a better way of communicating and handling the situation.
I think it was Ben Franklin, Julie, who said the Ben Franklinism, bad news is like fish. They both stink worse after a few days.
There you go. So, and bad news travels fast, right? That's what my mom always used to say to me, right? Like if there'd be a concern, oh my gosh, I think something may have happened. She's like, bad news travels fast. You would know if there was something bad had happened. So I think those are all very true.
So quick question for you as a CTO, former Chief People Officer. When you think about these ideas around accountability, ownership, responsibility, big differentiator, right? When you think about the people's personal brand, I mean, how do they stand out in your organizations?
Yeah, well, I guess I would flip it a little bit in that I've had people that I've worked with and that have worked for me that couldn't quite get over the blame or, this isn't really my fault, it's because of this. And again, I think that, a lot of times we talk about accountability, but I always remind people that accountability is not about taking ownership for someone else's issue. So, you find some people that'll be like, they'll just take responsibility for anything because they think that's the way to, okay, we can move past this and move on. Whereas I'm like, look, there's situations again where you have to be very courageous and brave to say, I own this, but we can't ignore the fact that the following other contributing factors, which were not directly in our ownership also need to be addressed at the same time. So, I have seen a few leaders that feel like accountability means just taking responsibility for everything, which is also not the right answer.
Hey there, I'm Ryan Becker, and I'm on the production team for the Inspiring IT Leaders video series. If you like this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up to help us grow, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. Also, be sure to check out the Tech Whisperers podcast, where we take a peek inside the playbooks of the best digital leaders so that we can help you grow your career in tech leadership. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.